Hey everyone, it's Mari here for Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be working with the adorable mason jar vase die today from Honeybee. I really love this. It's a two-piece die set that cuts out the jar, and then you can also cut the lid from another piece of coordinating cardstock. I'm also going to be using the Winter Village die set today, and I've die cut out the pieces for one of the little houses in the Winter Village set. Only going to be using one house in my little scene inside the jar here. I did also cut the lid for the jar from some gold metallic cardstock, and here you can just see that I am going to start assembling, or I'm assembling this little house just by adding some liquid adhesive to the different pieces to piece it together. These little Winter Village houses are just absolutely adorable. I've used them on a few cards for the holidays, and I just have had so much fun with this set. It's really super cute, and it's fun to use the little houses inside the mason jar just to create a little scene. So I'm using a combination of red cardstock and craft to create the little house. I think that's actually the only two colors of cardstock that I used. I end up backing the house with that gold metallic cardstock. You'll see me doing that here in a bit, just to create some backing for the little windows. But there you can just see I'm just going to clean up my glue. I've got all of that honeybee glue there that I've used to put that little house together. I'm going to adhere the metallic cardstock lid to the top of the jar. And now I'm going to start to create a few more details, including a little Christmas tree. I'm going to be using this gorgeous paper pad that was released with the holidays series, and it's called Make It Merry, this paper pad. I'm also going to be using the pine tree die set. This is a trio of dies that is absolutely fantastic. It's from the holiday season last year, and I love this set so much. I've used it a ton, and I'm going to use the smallest tree die there to create a little pine tree for my scene. I'm going to use a little bit of Rustic Wilderness Distress ink and a blending brush, and just add a little bit of extra detail to that patterned paper that I used to die cut out the tree. Just going to add a little bit just to the edges of the boughs of the tree to add just that little bit of depth and dimension to the tree. I love using colored cardstock and ink in this way. It just makes it really super easy to add details to your cardstock or your pattern paper. So I'm just going to finish that up, and then that tree is going to be all ready for the little scene in the mason jar. So I'm going to just set that ink and blending brush aside, and now I'm going to add a little bit of tumbled glass to the base of my jar. You can see that I did die cut out that jar from white cardstock, and I think I forgot to mention that before, but I think it's obvious that that's white. But I am just going to add a little bit of tumbled glass distress ink to the edges of the jar just to give it a little bit, again, a little bit of depth and interest, and make it almost kind of look like it is a kind of like a winter day. And this is definitely going to be a wintry scene inside of this little jar. This jar actually could be used for a Christmas tag. I did end up using it for so the detail on my card front here, but it could be used for a tag as well. I'm just going to, like I said earlier, adhere my little red house onto another piece of gold metallic cardstock, and then that's just going to fill in the window sections that you can see through on that little house. This is the easiest way of filling in your little windows. I'm just adding a little bit of cardstock to the back, whether it's yellow or whatever you want to appear to be the see-through piece of your window. So that's going to finish off the little house, and now the little house is ready for the scene. You can just see how this little pine tree is going to fit in behind. I love the size variation of the tree and the house. It just looks like a really nice, super mature pine tree in behind the house. And then there's a perfect little spot for my sentiment. I'm also going to be using a little bit of red and white twine. Now this sentiment set is called Home for the Holidays. It is actually one of my favorite sets from the recent release. I love the different fonts. I think it's gorgeous, and I wanted to just use this Warmest Wishes sentiment. Fits perfectly into that little area in the upper right of that little jar. And I'm going to stamp that out with my intense black ink from Honeybee Stamps. and I'll just tap that out a few times. I do end up re-inking the stamp a few times. I'm only going to show it once here on camera, but I did put it into my MISTI so that I can re-ink that where needed, just to create this really nice crisp sentiment. Now I'm going to just go ahead and assemble these different little pieces in here with my Honeybee liquid glue, and just go ahead and add the little tree and the house into the scene. This is really simple. You could add a little snowbank into the scene if you wanted. You could add some gems or lots of different little accoutrements. What I wanted to finish it with is some white splatter, just for some little snowflake effect. So I've got this in my splat box, and I'm just splattering with some white paint. I do have the top of the jar and the sentiment covered up so that they don't get white paint on them. I've also used my scallop A2 card frames, that second largest size there, to die cut out this white frame for my little jar here. And I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive and add that onto a top folding A2 size note card. Just going to center the scallop piece onto the note card base here with my liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to use some foam adhesive on the back. You can see there I have the twine attached to the top. I just tied it on there in a really simple way. So I just doubled it around the top of the jar and then just tied a really simple bow. Trimmed off the twine so that it's nice and short and perfect for adding onto a card front. And as I've said earlier, you could definitely use this as a tag for a gift. It's a really great size for that. You could add a really nice note on the back and add that to a gift. So that is going to finish off my card today. I had so much fun creating this. This is a super easy way to create a quick and easy card. These different die sets from Honeybee are just fantastic. I love their dies. They are wonderful for creating some really beautiful projects. Have an amazing day, friends. I hope to see you soon. Happy holidays and take care. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.